It was intended as a light-hearted jest, a casual remark that slipped into a lively conversation without much forethought. Perhaps I had indulged in a bit too much wine, my spirits lifted by the warmth of the evening, causing the words to escape my lips before I could reconsider. It emerged as a gentle ribbing, a soft chuckle woven into my tone. I married Lucas because all the good ones were already taken. The table erupted in laughter, everyone assuming it was merely another playful jab, as was my reputation. Yet, when I turned to look at Lucas, the laughter caught in my throat. His expression was inscrutable, devoid of any amusement. His gaze was fixed straight ahead, deliberately avoiding mine. His fingers were clenched tightly around the napkin in his lap, as if it were the only tether to reality. Without uttering a word, he placed the napkin on the table, rose, and walked away. There was no anger, no raised voice, no dramatic exit, just a quiet, composed retreat that resonated louder than any outburst could. In that moment, I realized I had crossed a line. I had hurt the one person who had always been unwavering, who had never failed to support me. I told myself he would return. Lucas was a steady, composed man, the type who preferred to let things settle before addressing them. So I stayed at the table, forcing a smile, brushing off my friend's concerned glances, pretending that everything was fine, even as anxiety coiled tightly in my chest. When I returned home later that night, expecting to find him asleep, I was met with an unsettling silence. Half of his clothes were missing from the closet. His toothbrush was gone. And there, on the kitchen counter, glinting softly under the overhead light, sat his wedding ring. My breath caught. My heart raced. This was not like him. Lucas didn't just vanish. Panic surged within me, but I tried to rationalize it. Perhaps he just needed space. I texted him, "Lucas, where are you? Can we talk?" But there was no response. When I called, it went straight to voicemail. Another message. Another call. Silence. The knot in my stomach tightened. Morning arrived, and his side of the bed remained untouched. He was gone, no longer just upset or cooling off, but truly gone. I hadn't intended for it to be like this. It had been a foolish remark, careless and thoughtless, not meant to be malicious. Yet the truth was more complicated. Lucas was a good man, gentle, dependable, everything one could want in a partner. Somewhere along the way, I had turned his stability against him. I had convinced myself that it wasn't enough. He was safe, perhaps too safe. My thoughts spiraled, whispering that I had settled for something secure when what I truly desired was excitement. I began to crave thrill, spontaneity, chaos masquerading as passion. Then came Daniel. Everything about him was in stark contrast to Lucas. Bold, magnetic, the kind of man who drew everyone's attention. His flirtation was intoxicating, and I allowed myself to be swept away. Nothing physical transpired between us, but emotionally, I strayed far from Lucas. I entertained fantasies of a different life, a more adventurous one, all while my current reality quietly crumbled around me. Lucas either didn't notice or chose not to confront the situation. Perhaps he loved me too deeply to address it directly. Not until that fateful night. Days turned into weeks, yet there was still no word, no note, no message, no sign of him. Friends advised me to give him time, assuring me that he would return once he sorted through his feelings. But a darker thought began to creep in. What if this wasn't a temporary absence? What if I had broken something beyond repair? I hesitated to admit it. Pride kept me silent. Yet every night as I lay in our bed, my bed now, the emptiness beside me screamed the truth. He was truly gone, and it was my fault. Then one afternoon I spotted him. I had slipped into my favorite cafe, hoping to drown my regrets in caffeine, when I saw him sitting by the window. Lucas, laughing, smiling, a lightness on his face that I hadn't witnessed in years. He wasn't alone. Seated across from him was a woman, graceful, radiant, effortlessly captivating. She wasn't ostentatious or loud. She simply exuded contentment. And so did he. Something twisted inside me. He looked at her the way he once looked at me, with quiet warmth and affection. She gazed back as if she recognized his worth, cherishing every moment spent with him in a way I had never managed to do. I wanted to rush to him, to remind him that I was his wife, to plead for his return, but I found myself frozen. The truth held me in place. He was no longer mine. I had driven him away, made him feel inadequate. Regret does not shout. It whispers. It lingers, seeping into every aspect of life until it taints everything. I chased an illusion of something better, blind to the reality that the best thing I had ever possessed was already mine. Lucas didn't yell or seek revenge. He simply walked away. And that silence, that quiet, unwavering departure, became the most profound punishment of all. Now I carry the burden of that choice, knowing I let go of a man who would have loved me for a lifetime, had I only allowed him to. People often say you don't realize what you have until it's gone. But sometimes you do, you just assume it will always be there. And when it finally disappears, there's no one left to blame but yourself.